विचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाचत देशतारिणे शिव जय जय गोरा चांदेर आरती को शोभा जानवी तटबने जागमन लोभा दक्षिण निताय चाँद बामे गदाधर कहते हैं अद्वैत सिनी भाष सतधारी कहते हैं अद्वैत सिनी भाष सतधारी शिव बसे आसे गोरा चाँद रत्न सिंह शिव बसे आसे गोरा आरती करें ब्रह्मा आदि देवगणे नर हरि आदि करी चामर डोला संजय मुकुंद वासु घोषयादि गाय मुकुंद वासु घोषयादि गाय केवल शंख बाजे घंटा बाजे बाजे करता मृदंग बाजे परामरशाला गौरांगेरारती शोभा जगत जनमन लोभा गौरांगेरारती शोभा जगत जनमन लोभा बाजे मधुर 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 बाजे
বাজে ঘন্টা বাজে মাধু মাধু মাধু
শঙ্খ বাজে ঘন্টা বাজে মধুর 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 বাজে
ঘন্টা বাজে মাধু 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 বাজে
শঙ্খ বাজে ঘন্টা বাজে মধুর 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 বাজে
ঘন্টা বাজে মাধু 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 বাজে
এব বহু কোটি চন্দ্রাজিনী বধনয়ুজ
বাহু কোটি চন্দ্রাজি
দেশে বন করে ঝলমালা
দেশে বানা করে জলমালা
শিবা সুখ নারদ প্রেমে গদগ
শিব শিব সুখানা রাধা দাদা দাদা
গোরার সম্পাদ জয় রাধা মাধব হরি রাধা মাধব হরি জয় গৌরানিতায় 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 জয় গৌরানিতায় নিতায় গৌর হরি বল হরি বল হরি বল হরি বল जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गौर भक्तवे
Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गौर
Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare विष्णुपाद परमहंस अष्टादश शतभय चरण अरविंद जय श्री प्रभुपाद की भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर की गौर किशोरदास बाबा जी महाराज की सच्चिदानंद भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर की वैष्णव सार्वभौम जगन्नाथ बाबा जी महाराज की नामाचार्य हरिदास ठाकुर की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव बिंदु की श्री रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्रीजीव गोपाल भट्ट दास रघुनाथ सरस्वती बिंदु की प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसादि गौर भक्त बिंद की श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरी गोवर्धन की वृंदावन बजमल धाम की कृष्ण बलराम की द्वारिका मथुरा धाम की चारि धाम की लीला पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुर धाम की श्री श्री राधा माधव भगवान की श्रीनाथ जी गोपाल की गौरनिताय की मायापुर राधा माधव अष्टसखीवृंद की मायापुर नवदी धाम की गंगा माए जमुना माई की भक्ति देवी तुलसी महारानी की समवेत गौर भक्तबिंद की जय शिल प्रभुपाद की पतित पवन गुरु महाराज की जनिताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि ऑल ग्लोरीज एस मल्टीवर्स हरे कृष्ण ऑल ग्लोरीज एस मल्टीवर्स हरे कृष्ण ऑल ग्लोरीज गुरु एंड गौरंग जय शिल प्रभुपाद की जय।
नमस्ते नरसिंहाय प्रह्लादलाददायिने हिरण्यकशिपुर्वक्षः शीलटङ्कानखालये इतो नरसिंह परतो नरसिंह यतो यतो यामि ततो नरसिंह बहे नरसिंह हृदये नरसिंह नरसिंहमदिं शरणं प्रपदे तव करकमलवरेणाखाम् अद्भुत सिंह दलिता हिरण्यकशिपु कानवृंग केशवदीता नरहरिरूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश
Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome to Shri Radha Madhav Hari Dham. On behalf of our presiding deity, Shri Radha Madhav Hari, we are very happy to welcome you to our Sunday Feast program. As you know, we've been working hard on our decorations, and we got a little more of the new look for Janmashtami front of the altar decorations done this morning. There's several volunteers come here and do that. And I think the deities look extra special today, don't they?
Yes.
A big round of applause to our pujaris for dressing them so beautifully. So our Janmashtami program is coming up on Saturday. Those of you who may leave early, please join us on Saturday. The program is going to start at 6 o'clock in the evening and continue till 1 o'clock in the morning. The temple will open at 4:30, and I know many devotees like to join us for Mangala Arati on the appearance day of Shri Krishna. So, you're welcome to join us then. But otherwise, because it's a Saturday, we're also going to have the Julan here out from 11 to 1. And you'll be able to offer some Pushpa Abhishekam to Laddu Gopal. So that's going to be on Saturday. If you cannot come in the evening, you can come during the day and take darshan of the deities and have an opportunity to swing Laddu Gopal. That's on Saturday morning, 11 to 1. And in the evening, our main program will start at 6 o'clock when the Vrindavan village will open on the south side. We'll have tents set up on the south side. There'll be Vrindavan village with a lot of activities there. And then you come through to the temple. There'll be Abhishekam here, Kirtan and Arati going on in the main temple. And then you can go out. There'll be a cultural program tent, and also prasadam will be served. Then so this Abhishekam is from 7:30 to around 10 o'clock. And then we have another Abhishekam of our Radha Govinda deities at 10:30 to 11. And then we'll have Maha Arati at midnight, and there'll be Maha Prasadam served after that. So please help us make Lord Krishna's appearance day special. We all celebrate our birthdays. We go many lengths to celebrate our birthdays. We'd like to do the same and make it the best ever Shri Krishna Janmashtami festival this year. So there are sevas available. You can see Prabhu over there at the counter. There'll be Damodar Prabhu there, and some of us will be there if you'd like to offer any services for Shri Krishna Janmashtami festival. And we also have a sign-up sheet for volunteers. If you have not done so, you're welcome to sign up for any volunteer activities you may want to do. I know a lot of people have come to me and asked me about the puri making. The puri making is going to be on Friday at 5 o'clock. I know many Matajis look forward to that because it's probably one of their annual gatherings here. And they all have fun making puris from 5 till about 8:30, take prasadam and go home. So that's this Friday, starting at 5 o'clock. Just try and bring your own rolling pins if you can, and just come and have fun. Those of you who do not like to roll, there are other services. available, chopping vegetables and so forth, but also just with the puri making, there's transfer of the rolled puris to the fryer, and then there's somebody to count the puris, and pack them and box them. So there are many other seva with puri making, not just the rolling of the puris. So hopefully you can join us and make it a shorter, time. More the merrier. So thank you so much, and you can sign up on those sheets there as well. So not taking away too much from this afternoon's speaker, we have His Grace Prana Hari Prabhu giving a class today. We are going to be continuing our talk on Bhagavad Gita chapter 4, and today is going to be verses 25 to 33. We just summarize those verses. And Prabhu has been with us for a few years. He's a disciple of His Grace Vaisheshika Prabhu. And we're very happy to have Prabhu join our congregation here. He participates not only in giving Sunday feast classes, but he also participates in our morning sadhana program, where he also gives, on a rotation basis, class in our Srimad Bhagavatam that we read in the morning from 5:40 to 6 o'clock. So anybody interested, can also join that program. Prabhu likes to distribute books because he comes from Vaisheshaka Prabhu, is his disciple, and Vaisheshaka Prabhu is one of our best Sankirtan leaders there ever was. So Prabhu is his disciple, and he also likes to distribute books. And he also, with his wife Anapayani, participates in our Harinam that we have on monthly basis, except it's on hold in summer months because of the heat. And especially this year, the heat has been it's been terrible. So, but Prabhu, the mic is yours. Thank you so much. Please give me a warm welcome. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji. That next time. Still one. Yeah. For the whole place is different.
So, welcome. Thanks for coming. And we'll start by... haven't done anything yet. Hare Krishna. We'll start by singing Jai Radha Madhava, nice bhajan. Some of you may be familiar with. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
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 Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradari
Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradari
Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana
Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana
Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana
Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana
Yamuna Tiravanachari
Yamuna Tiravanachari
Bihari
Yamuna Tira Brahmachari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Om Jnanatimurandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindubhyeva cha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Okie dokie. Hare Krishna. 4th chapter. Who's not familiar with Bhagavad Gita? And don't be embarrassed or ashamed. No, really, like, familiar meaning like you've read it, actually. Who's not read it? Like, who really doesn't know what we're about to talk about? Okay, a few hands. Good. No, that's good. I just want to know what I should say, because it's different to talk to a crowd who's read Bhagavad Gita and those who aren't so familiar with the concepts. So, the majority of people here have apparently read this book, which is good. Great. So, text 25. So, I'm going to go back just 2 texts to get the context. In general, in this chapter, Krishna is he's trying to show Arjuna that simply not doing your line of work does not equal transcendence. Does that make sense? a lot of the time we think that which is material, that which is spiritual is the opposite of that which is material. So just do the opposite, right? I go to work now, I take care of my family. That's material. So I do the opposite. I quit my job and I don't take care of my family. That is a fallacious misunderstanding. And Krishna is trying to educate Arjuna, actually, who is his devotee and disciple, in the Bhagavad Gita. Because Arjuna, a few chapters ago, is saying, I don't want to do my line of work at the most interesting time, right, when they're about to start a war, and he's a warrior. So he says, I'm putting down my bow and arrow, and that's it, I'm not fighting. So Krishna is trying to educate him to understand how doing one's duty, doing karma. Karma, sometimes in the West, we understand karma to mean reaction to work. Like, oh, I got bad karma. I got a reaction from some past activity I did bad or sinful. So now I'm getting something inauspicious now, and we call that karma. Really what karma just means is action. So that's how it's referred to throughout the Gita, not so much as reaction. It's more about action. So Arjuna is thinking, I don't do my karma, my dharma, and that will produce a better result. But Krishna is saying, no, it's not the case. In text 23, Krishna says, the work of a man who is unattached to the modes of material nature and who is fully situated in transcendental knowledge merges entirely into transcendence. So that karma, that work, the translation of karma here is work, the work of a man who is unattached, gata sangasya, his attachment, sangha, has gone, gata. His attachment to the work is no more. He's not attached to it. He's doing it with a little bit of a detached disposition. And jnana avastita cetasa. So his consciousness, his mind, is situated in jnana. It's situated in knowledge. And acharata karma, he performs his work for the purpose of yajna, for the purpose of sacrifice, yajnaya. So that work, it becomes transcendental. Okay? So then Krishna speaks about yajna. This is where the whole theme of the next 8 verses are coming from, is this verse, yajna. Well, in which context is doing work allowed and permissible and not going to create further entanglement in the material world? Because realize, when we do work, it creates reaction, right? I do my karma and I get reactions. Krishna says earlier, ye yatamam prapajante tams tataiva bhajamyaham at 4:11 in this chapter. So he's basically saying, as people approach me, I reciprocate accordingly. So what we put out in the world is what you're going to get. Your input will equal your output. And transcendentalists are saying, I don't want that output. Arjuna's like, I don't want to kill in this war because the output will be bad. And Krishna is trying to say, no, that's not the case. It's how you do the input. It's how you do karma. It's how you do your work. So he's giving this example that someone who's unattached to their work, situated in knowledge, and does it for the purpose of yajna, sacrifice, does not get entangled. That work is considered transcendental. It does not produce an entangling result. So in text 24, then he says, Brahmarpanam Brahmahavir Brahmagnau Brahmana Hutam Brahmaiva Tenagantavyam Brahmakarma Samadhina. That curiously, not only that, but everything becomes transcendental. So you, the performer of the work, the instrument which you use to perform the work, that which you offer as the yajna, and of course the fire being representative of Brahman in a traditional sense, and also in this metaphor, is Brahman, is spiritual, transcendental. So there's a really good example of that here, right here in the temple, and I'm wondering if anyone knows it. It has to do with... Yeah, does anyone have a... Raise your hand. I'm just curious. Can anyone read my mind and guess? How is it that... Flowers. Prabhu said flowers. That's a great... Yes. I was thinking flowers mostly, yes. Krishna loves flowers because he's from Vrindavan. So, yeah, when we offer a flower, like we can go outside and probably pick some random flower. Walk down the street, walk down Chandler Avenue, maybe you'll find a bush, and you pick a flower. It's just a random plant. You know, pretty bad karma to be a plant, actually, in some sense. You know, you're stuck in a very low conscious body. Anyways, you pick a flower, you bring it back, you give it to Krishna. You don't want the flower for yourself. You're not trying to enjoy that flower. That means you're detached. You're situated in knowledge that this is for Krishna. You're doing it for Krishna. That's yajna, sacrifice. You're sacrificing. You went out walking in this hot summer sun. And then you offer it. And this text 24 is saying that everything was spiritual about that activity. And then you get it off the altar and you pray. Krishna enjoyed it and accepted the offering. And you smell it. And your senses are contacting a sense object. And there might be a mental movement called bhoga, enjoyment of the smell. This verse is saying that's all spiritual, if done in this jnana avastita, situated in knowledge and detachment, and yajnaya, for the purpose of yajna, sacrifice. Okay? So, it's the beauty of our bhakti philosophy. A lot of people who walk in the door and are introduced into Srila Prabhupada's books will actually get this pretty readily, this concept. It's a pretty advanced concept, actually. That when your consciousness is for the purpose of yajna to the Supreme, everything becomes spiritualized. Everything becomes of that same nature, Brahman. That's what's used in text 24. And Prabhupada writes a nice purport. The word Brahma means spiritual. The Lord is spiritual. So he's saying that when one's consciousness is covered by illusion, then that sense gratification, that material consciousness, that's the term material. So it's a matter of consciousness, more than anything. One could come in here and offer it to Krishna, right? But still think, I'm going to enjoy that after, and this is like some formality. Krishna will later say this in the next few verses, we'll get to it, that the yajna in knowledge, done in knowledge, is greater than the yajna that you're just doing karmically. Karma means by physicality. I just brought the flower, I moved it in there, that was hard, I put it on the altar. But if you do it more in knowledge meaning the consciousness of I want to please Krishna, then that's, Krishna specifically says in text 33, I think. You don't have to go there right away, but we'll get there. 33, he says that that's better. There is a hierarchy, in fact. There is a hierarchy. Sometimes in different spiritual traditions, I mean, Hinduism and especially Eastern traditions, there's this concept that, everything is, it's kind of like whatever floats your boat. Whatever works for you is going to be spiritual. You want to worship Shiva, you want to worship this, you want to do that, you want to do Ashtanga Yoga, Pranayama, you want to do this, that. It's all kind of equal. It's like however you can connect to spirit. And Krishna kind of validates that in 4:11. He says, all men follow my path in all respects, O Arjuna. But he also gives a hierarchy. Krishna also, there is hierarchy, and that is something that we should be attentive to. So, without further ado, text 25. I'm just going to read the English if that's okay. I looked at the Sanskrit earlier, and if anyone has questions about the verses, feel free to just raise your hand. Yeah, Prabhu.
Can you define, people talk about a yajna translated as a sacrifice. What is the unique understanding of that concept of sacrifice? Why is that word yajna or a sacrifice so important? Because whether we fast in times like Ekadashi, fast in the time like Janmashtami, or fast in the time like, it's all part of yajna or a sacrifice. Sometimes it is a Draivya yajna, sometimes it is a Tapo yajna, Yoga yajna. Lord Krishna addresses that part also.
Yes.
So why is this concept of sacrifice so important to the path of spiritual path? Why is this so important?
Yeah, great question. Yeah, Prabhu's question was, what is yajna? Why is this term used? What is its meaning? And why is it important to the path of spirituality? So how can we understand what is a yajna? Because we do throw that term around a lot. Yajna this, yajna that. Oh, you get home from work, it's like, yeah, it was a real yajna. And what was it? We have to think twice about that. Well, so, great question. And let's go through the verses, because Krishna kind of answers it, and I think that towards the end of this string of verses, there is somewhat of a clarification in what is yajna. He's about to give examples. The next several verses are examples of yajna. And we're gonna open it up and ask for other examples that how we perform yajna, and from like a Gaudiya Vaishnav perspective. And we're gonna open that up and see. But let's hear this first. He says, Some yogis perfectly worship the demigods by offering different sacrifices to them, and some offer sacrifices in the fire of the supreme Brahman. So that's two examples. Some people worship devatas, they do like devata yajna. Yajna, you could say yaj, it comes from a Sanskrit dhatu meaning that yaj, which means to worship, to offer, like unto. There's different meanings, but I think part of it is, to worship or to sacrifice. I mean, that's a very common English translation, to sacrifice. It's where one considers something venerable, worshipable, and therefore one does something for that person or thing. That is just etymologically what yajna means. Now, it has a connotative definition also, which will be brought up. In text 26, he says, some, the unadulterated brahmacharis, sacrifice the hearing process and the senses in the fire of mental control, and others, the regulated householders, sacrifice the objects of the senses in the fire of the senses. So in the previous two examples, some people worship devatas. They're making, Vedic offerings into Agni for the devata's pleasure. Other people are doing it in the fire of the supreme Brahman. So that could either be metaphorically, like sannyasis kind of offer their whole self into Brahman, or more of like a jnana yoga type. Here we hear this unadulterated brahmachari sacrifice the hearing process. Samyama. Now this Bhagavad Gita came before Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. I mean, it predates it. And but using Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, we can understand dharana, dhyana, and samadhi these ashtangas, these last three angas of Ashtanga Yoga, equals samyama. So it's complete absorption, complete and total fixated mind. We don't know this stuff I speak for myself, and in a general social society way. Maybe some of you great souls do. But samyama is a very heightened state of complete focus where awareness and consciousness is absolutely fixated on one point. The mind is held, dharana. You hold it, just like you hold a heavy object and you have to hold it. The mind is held on one space because it wants to flicker. Dhyana, there's meditation, samadhi, complete meditation. So samyama. So he's saying the samyamis. Oh, he doesn't say that, but Krishna says others. Anyways, he's saying others offer this, all the senses, the indriyas. They offer the senses into this process of samyama, complete restraint, complete samadhi. So the senses no longer function externally. The senses are offered inward. It's called an inner life. Our senses function externally right now. So they're offering their senses inwardly. It's like an offering to my state of absorption. They're offering their senses. Like a turtle, Krishna says in the 2nd chapter, pulls its limbs inward. And then others, the regulated householders, sacrifice objects of the senses into the fire of the senses. So then householders who don't have that samyama, let's say, they're contacting sense objects, but they're offering it into the fire of their senses. Their senses experience it, but they don't become attached to it. They let it pass. So that's called sense control. You see something that agitates one of the senses, a beautiful thing, a beautiful sound, a beautiful smell, taste. And because of the householder's position in the world, they're in touch with objects of the senses, but their senses, they think about it like the objects are just being offered into this fire of the senses. They get burnt up. They don't matter. They're detached from it. It's a detachment. 27, others who are interested in achieving self-realization through control of the mind and senses offer the functions of all the senses and of the life breath as oblations in the fire of the controlled mind. So Prabhupada talks about Patanjali's Yoga Sutras there. So the senses, the mind, and the life airs, the pranas, some yogis do pranayam. They offer all of that into a controlled mind. Similar to the previous verse, samyama, into their controlled, fixated meditation, everything goes inward. And then text 28, having accepted, so Krishna gives 4 different types of yagyas in this verse. Dravya yagya, tapa yagya, yoga yagya, and swadhyaya jnana yagya. He gives a lot of different yagyas, and he says all these people take to these different things with strict vows. There's such a variety. Some people give charity. That's their vow. That's their yagya. They're sacrificing something for something that they think is worshipable. So the cause of charity, let's say I feed the poor. There shouldn't be any hungry people or whatever in the world. It's a noble cause. So they worship that. They hold that value on high. And worship it by sacrificing, giving something of, their own. That's a type of yagya. Some become enlightened by severe austerities, tapas. Hiranyakashipu stood on one leg and held his hands in the air. I mean, you kind of can use your imagination. Krishna says in the 16th chapter, people who use their imagination and it goes against the Vedas, it's of a demoniac nature. But doesn't mean it's not a yagya. Hiranyakashipu got some result. And study of the Vedas, Ashtanga Yoga. Text 29, still others who are inclined to the process of breath restraint to remain in trance, practice by offering the movement of the outgoing breath into the incoming, and the incoming breath into the outgoing, and thus at last remain in trance, stopping all breathing. Others, curtailing the eating process, offer the outgoing breath into itself as sacrifice. This is This is pranayama stuff. So Krishna says in text 30, all these performers who know the meaning of sacrifice become cleansed of sinful reactions, and having tasted the nectar of the results of sacrifice, they advance toward the supreme eternal atmosphere. So he's saying that they become cleansed. These people are acting. They are doing karma. They're breathing. They're doing some gymnastics, perhaps. They're doing study. They're doing fires and charity. They're doing action. But they're doing action for the purpose of sacrifice, for the purpose of yajna. Therefore, yajna kshapita kalmashaha, the impurities which usually accompany action are cleansed by yajna. He says in text 31, Nayam lokos tyayagyasya kutonya kurusatama. O best of the Kuru dynasty, without sacrifice, one can never live happily on this planet or in this life. What then of the next? Anya kutaha. What if you can't live happily in this world, in this life, what of any other? Because the idea is the higher thing awaits perhaps afterlife. So, Krishna is really making this point about yajna being the key. And Arjuna, it's almost like Arjuna already knows it. Krishna's just, telling him, hey, don't you remember this? Like, everyone has to live by yajna. Everyone's doing something. Everyone has to sacrifice for a higher purpose. That's how you do action in this world. So what are you talking about? You're going to stop acting. You're going to put down your bow and arrow and just think that is liberating. That's not liberating. Liberation is doing action for the purpose of sacrifice. In text 32, he says, Evam bahu vida yajna. Thus, there's many different types of yajna. He's just described. How many types did he just describe? Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 7, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. At least 12. At least 12. And these are kind of advanced things. Maybe charity, maybe study of Vedas. We could perhaps do that. But he's describing some pretty advanced yoga stuff, Gyan Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga. Evam bahu vida yajna vitata brahmanomukhe. Vitata brahmanomukhe. So brahmana means of the Vedas. Meaning the Vedas have told about these. It's in the Vedas. These are not these are not concocted. These are the Vedas have specifically spoken of this. Karmajan viditan sarvan. They're born of different types of work. So everyone has a different. If you remember earlier in the 4th chapter, Krishna talks about chaturvarnyam maya shrishtam guna karma vibhagashaha. He mentions this, that there's different qualities and different types of work. And he's created this social system where there is the 3 modes interact and create different types of beings with different psychological and physiological dispositions. And therefore, karmajan, there are different types of yajnas that are born from the different types of psychophysical dispositions in the world. So we don't expect someone to do all of these, or to do one that doesn't fit their psychophysical disposition. This is exactly what Krishna is saying here. These are born of specific dispositions, karmajan. They're born of work. How do you get a disposition? You do a certain type of work. So we create our disposition in previous lives. Evam gyatva vimokshase. So knowing that you are you attain liberation. And then I'll just read the last verse and then we'll open it up. Shreyan dravya mayad yagyajana yagyaparantapa sarvam karma kilam parta gyane parisamapyate. O chastiser of the enemy, the sacrifice performed in knowledge is better than the mere sacrifice of material possessions. After all, O son of Pritha, all sacrifices of work culminate in transcendental knowledge. So although Krishna says in the exact previous verse, there are many types of yajnas, and there's many types of yajnas described in the Vedas themselves, so they're authoritative. There's a broad spectrum of things that you could do for yajna. Someone says, I can't do anything. Well, no, the Vedas give a broad spectrum, and it's all born exactly there's something right for you. There's something right for every single person here, how they can offer yajna. If you're like, a big money man, hey, there's a way for you to offer yajna, because that's your disposition. Just earn. Cool. There's a way for you to do yajna. It's called give charity. If you are a yogi, your disposition is to specifically control the senses, control the mind. You're detached. You have a general detachment from material affairs and sense objects. There's a yajna for you to do. So he's saying there's different things to do. But in text 33, he's saying Shrayan, better than the dravya yajnas, better than simply giving physical things, is actually the jnana yajnas, that which has knowledge, that which your consciousness is actually active in. So like I said, all of us should go drop $100 bills in the hundi, okay? But the benefit you get might be different from the next person. Even though you both gave 100, you think, well, I'll give 200. Well, actually, that's good. But what about giving the 100 with a certain type of consciousness? That's what Krishna says here, is the consciousness which you give. Then you say, well, I'll give $1 and I'll just be really Krishna conscious. Well, Krishna knows how you're thinking. Krishna knows your heart. Krishna knows what kind of cheating propensity is lurking in the recesses of your heart. But that's the point, is actually pure consciousness. Krishna is saying Jnana Yajna is greater than simply the mere motions of something. Don't get me wrong, the mere motions are good. Ritual is good. It's where we want our mind to be. But if we don't pay attention to that, if we don't learn, if we don't acquire knowledge and then do the karma for yajna in knowledge, it won't be as good. It's a much slower process. So how to get that yajna, how to get that knowledge? Krishna explains it in the next verse, which we're not going to continue with, but tadvidi pranipatena. He says, then you go to someone who has the knowledge. If you want to do something in knowledge, greater knowledge, I'm just putting that $100 in the hundi every week, and I'm not getting anything in life, I'm not getting anything from it, I'm thinking of stopping doing that, stop coming to the temple. Well, then you have to inquire from a guru, someone who is tattvavit, a seer of truth, who can give knowledge. They give knowledge to you that Krishna is the soul of your soul. Bhoktaram yagya tapasam sarva loka maheshram suhridam sarva bhutanam. This is everything. This person here, he's the real deal. This is your worshipable love of your heart eternally. You get knowledge and then you put that 100 in and you have a different disposition. You have a different consciousness when you do it. And Krishna, being a person, reciprocates accordingly. So I'm going to open it up, stop there, and just curious now a lot of the yajnas, like I said, in the Gita here, just a few examples. Krishna is not giving an exhaustive list here. He's just naming off a few things that came to his mind. In that Vedic age, it would be common to see yogis doing austerities. It would be common to see great philanthropists or brahmanas studying or gyan yogis. Nowadays, maybe it's not. So I'm asking you, as Gaudiya Vaishnavas, bhaktas, what kind of yajnas are prescribed for us? What can we do? And I'm curious to hear from you all a few examples, perhaps. Chanting, yeah. Yeah, chanting, Nam Kirtan. Yeah, chanting, exactly. So sometimes we call that Japa Yajna. or Sankirtan Yagya, meaning we are holding Krishna, Bhagavan, as a worshipable object, and we are employing our energy, our bodies, our voices, our time in our minds, actually, ideally the mind, that's what we don't remember often is our inattentive chanting, but we attentively put our minds on Krishna's names. It's very sweet when you think about chanting. You know, you think about chanting and it's like, you're just calling his name, you know, Radha and Krishna's names over and over again. It's very intimate, just to be saying someone's names over and over again. Like my wife, I would say, Anapayani, Anapayani. You know, kind of seems like, whoa, it's a little intimate. Just calm down. But we very much do it every day. So yeah, chanting is such a great sacrifice, and when we do it in that right gyan, when we hear next verse 34, we'll hear Tadvidi Prana. You go to a guru, how do I chant? How do I chant in knowledge? So then you get told knowledge about Krishna, about these names, and then our chanting is that much more efficacious. Great, I mean, thank you, perfect. If we didn't get that one, I would be a little disappointed, a little surprised. Yes, Prabhu.
So my understanding, Hare Krishna. So with the question that we started, the
Yes.
definition of a yajna. So my understanding is, you know, with your wonderful explanation that you have done, you know, reading the meanings. So in a 11th verse of this same chapter, where Krishna starts everything with his own birth and activity, was more or less that he was assigning to his devotees that my devotees are interested in my birth and activities, not in this complication of the yajnas. But then maybe, I mean, what we understand is this is more of the karma yoga and dhyana yoga that he's talking about, and ashtanga yoga. So he combined it, karma, dhyana and ashtanga on this part of the section. And he basically, he talked about Draivya Yajna, Tapo Yajna, Yoga Yajna, Tatha Pare. So he talks a Draivya Yajna for the people who are making lot of money. He says people who are making money, that's for you is a Draivya Yajna.
Yes.
Tapo Yajna are the people who don't want to spend too much mind or energy in making money, but you want to constantly discipline yourself all the time. For you, Tapo Yajna is better.
Right.
Is that the understanding that we come out of that?
Well, yes, in a generic way, yes. I mean, you could say that people who have different dispositions will lean naturally towards different styles of yajna. However, as bhaktas, we don't. This particular thing is Krishna just throwing out examples. He's not prescribing any of this for us, for like the bhaktas. You know, he's telling Arjuna to go fight. You know, it's kind of an interesting. His thing to Arjuna is man mana bhava mad bhakto. That's the yajna actually prescribed to those who want to follow in Arjuna's steps. Man mana bhava mad bhakto madhyajimam namaskuru. We bow down to Krishna. We put our minds on Krishna. We become Krishna's devotee. That's actually the yajna that we will engage in. Like in Ambarish Maharaj in the Bhagavatam, he engaged all his senses, smelling the tulsi leaves that were worshipping the Lord's lotus feet and walking to the temple. So he fully engaged in karma, but it was for the purpose of worshipping the Lord, which is a yajna. And same, like Mataji said, you know, we use our voices to chant. So the yajnas that we will do as Gaudiya Vaishnavas, as those aspiring for bhakti to Bhagavan, are going to be different than what was described. You know, it's not that we don't give charity. It's not that we don't. We might still have these dispositions, actually. So then we give charity to the temples of Krishna, not to something else. Although, you know, we might give it to like an animal sanctuary. That's nice. It's good. We can give it to some devotees taking care of Krishna's cows. So, you know, there's different ways to spiritualize that. And Tapa Yajna, for instance, okay, instead of doing like Patanjali's Yoga Sutra, you know, asana and this and that, you might still do that. You know, it's not like you shouldn't do that, but it's just that what we're preaching in this temple here is bhakti to Bhagavan. So we're going to say, you know, take that tapas propensity and do what Brahma did. You know, do do actual tapas and meditate on the Gayatri, calm Gayatri, meditate on Krishna's names, meditate so deeply that you have darshan of Krishna in your heart. So like, there are ways in which everything Krishna's saying is kind of cursory and he's not getting into the thick of it, like as Rupa Goswami or Jiva Goswami have done in their Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu or Sandarbhas, where they're specifically saying this is what Gaudiya Vaishnavas do. Here it is. Here's the handbook. Or Sanatana Goswami and Hari Bhakti Vilas. This is more of a cursory, just throwing out the examples to get Arjuna to realize, hey, everyone does karma. And these guys are getting purified doing their karma. So your idea that I should not do karma because it'll be impure, no. You just do it in the mood of sacrifice, in the way of sacrifice.
So basically, yajna, basically on this part is what it is saying is that yajna is nothing but voluntarily accepting the inconvenience for the purpose of higher gain. That's what it means.
Yeah, you could say it like that. It's we as jiva souls, all we really have in our possession, because we don't have these bodies, we have these bodies temporarily, they're on rent, and our house, our family, our this, our that, money, our everything, even our minds, our sense controls, it's all on rent. The only thing we really have is our consciousness, our attention, because that's what jivas are, is, spiritual spark of consciousness. So then giving something of ours to that which we value as worshipable is going to be the yajna. It's sacrificing what we have. I could use my attention for me. I could put it on me. I could, if we're illusioned in the material world, then we'll try to do dharma, artha, kama, moksha. If we're liberated, then we'll do moksha. But actually what we're saying is take that and sacrifice it for Bhagavan, who's the soul of our souls. So yes, I think that's a good definition, and it's just a matter of understanding what we actually have to sacrifice. And the primary, as Krishna says in text 33 here, the best one, he's just kind of alluding to the point, that the best thing is going to be that yajna which is operated with knowledge. That means it's more that's more of a consciousness change. This process of bhakti is about changing our hearts and our consciousness, more than the physical activities. Much, much more. It's the actual thing. Anything else? Any other thoughts about how we perform yajna? We heard chanting. That was good. That was a great one. How else do you perform yajna? Like, maybe it's just going to the grocery store for your wife. I don't know. Just throw it out. Reading Prabhupada's books. Prabhu said reading Prabhupada's books. Yeah. So Swadhyaya Yajna, that was in there. Self-study. So we might read, instead of just some obscure Vedic text, we go right to the heart of it and read Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, read to the heart of it all. Oof. Mataji. One more time? Anadan. Yes, exactly. Great example. And actually, it's one of the main things Srila Prabhupada taught us in ISKCON, and it's one of the main things Rupa Goswami taught us. How does he say? Dadati pratigranati guyamak yati prikshati bhunkte bojiyate chaiva. So he's saying that these loving exchanges, you give prasadam, you give something to eat, and you receive it in return. So these loving exchanges have implicitly included the sharing of foodstuffs. And if we see everyone as parts and parcels of Krishna, then yeah, we see some people want to feed everyone because they think they empathize with them, and it's very nice to empathize and think they're hungry. Even greater than that is this is a part and parcel of Krishna. Let me feed them. Even greater than that is let me feed them Krishna Prasad, so they get the real benefit, which is bhakti. So that's a great example. Let's take maybe one more, maybe two examples. Anapani.
You were mentioning before about going to the grocery store for your wife. So it can be funny, but actually, if your wife is devotee and she's doing service for Krishna, so it's Vaishnava Seva. So, but you can do it in any other way.
Thank you. Yeah, great. Perfect. So there are some, that's a wonderful point. Yes. So like, we have such a broad definition of yajna, actually, because in bhakti, there's literally, going back to verse 24, where the doer is spiritualized, the instrument is spiritualized. There's really no excuses. We can do anything and it can turn into an act of bhakti, an act of sacrifice, an act of love and surrender and devotion to Krishna. So even that, I can go to the grocery store for my wife and be begrudging and angry. And I did it, but that wasn't in knowledge. Or I can do it and think, let her chant her rounds and I'll do it because I already chanted mine. Something like that. It's really a matter of consciousness. So maybe one more example, and we will probably wrap up. But I wanted to give this an opportunity because we hear these and we think, well, that's like in the Gita, Nobody. I'm not going to control my breath like that. It's not even possible. Or we might mistakenly think, I'm going to go for that. It's not going to happen. Trust me. Not in this age. And I'm trying to give some more context to what Krishna is actually referring to here. Is yajna, sacrificing for the pleasure of Vishnu, in knowledge with that consciousness, bhakti consciousness. So simple acts can actually be transformed. And this is the whole gist of what he's trying to tell Arjuna, actually. So even Arjuna, killing people, there's a lot of wars being waged around the world right now, and we want them to end. I don't think it's very just or dharmic wars. But if Krishna is telling Arjuna, fight this war and kill these people, I'm telling you this, I want it done, so he's going to do it, and it's going to be a dharmic thing to do. So really the sky's the limit for what can be done, and I think one nuanced point is that it should be understood through the guru, tadvidi pranipati. So if you don't have the knowledge from someone who knows that, then we could get into speculation and concoction, like doing my sense gratification as a yajna. There's an element of self-deception here, which I'm not addressing, because Krishna, in the Bhagavad Gita and in the Vedic Shastras, has already assumed that someone is being honest with themselves. And that self-deception is not part of the equation here, if that makes sense. We're already past that. So if we want to be duplicity, essentially, that I'm duplicious with my own mind, with my own self. I'm acting and telling myself away, and then I'm doing something different. That's a problem, and we have to face it, and we have to pray to Krishna to become less duplicitous. But the reason why I'm not addressing it is because it's already assumed that the gyan that's being received from a guru, from a tattvavit, is enough to inform one of how to actually properly be situated in the right consciousness and perform a yajna. Last example, anyone would like? Yes, Prabhu.
Just a comment, Prabhu. I'm just realizing how beautiful this section is, because sometimes we think bhakti is has to be done in a particular way, and if maybe you think you don't have the qualification to do it that way. But here Krishna is saying that whatever propensity you have, you could still dovetail. If you have money, you can give charity, but think of me. If you have physical strength, work for me, but think of me. So I think this consciousness part is such an important message from this section, that you can do whatever, but as long as you can remember Krishna while doing it, then it's still a devotion. And Prabhupada always says you can dovetail. Prabhupada uses this word dovetailing everything that you do. And I just remembered that and just wanted to share.
Do you know what dovetail is? Like in carpentry? It's a carpentry term. Yeah. It's when you like bevel the... Yeah, exactly. So you have two pieces and you bevel it so that it fits perfectly together. Like seamlessly, like kind of like that. You have two pieces of wood and you dovetailed it. So that's essentially, it means yoga. To dovetail means to connect seamlessly. I think in Jiva Goswami's terms, aropa, how does he say? Aropa, there's different types of bhakti, like Swarup Siddha Bhakti is like pure, like direct bhakti angas, like chanting Krishna's names. That's called Swarup Siddha Bhakti. And then there's Sangha Siddha Bhakti. By association with bhakti, it becomes bhakti. And then there's aropa, I'm not so studied on that specific terminology, but there's different ways in which things can be transformed into bhakti, and that's what dovetail means. It's the art of connecting whatever to bhakti, and yeah, I appreciate your comment, because also the idea that Krishna is saying, Shreyan Dravya Mayad Yaj Yaj Jnana Yagya Parantapa, that this Jnana Yagya is better. It's true. But one might think, well, I'm doing Jnana Yagya. You know, I am studying the books, I'm chanting the japa, and this person's just coming in here and putting the donation in the hundi. And so I'm better than them. Someone might think that way, based on what Krishna's saying. But that is, again, not the consciousness aspect. It's actually the opposite of what the Gita is teaching. So it's really about the consciousness. No matter what it is, then how to receive that knowledge is described in the next verse, and how to apply that knowledge in your karma so that it becomes yagya. That is what's being described. Beautiful verses. I haven't studied this section in a long time. I was just trying to figure out what to say, and I thought, wow, I have no idea what I'm going to say. And now that we've talked about it amongst you all, I feel like this was a profound section of the Gita that we maybe overlook, or maybe have not quite understood fully. And certainly I haven't done an exhaustive study of it. I haven't given you the full picture. There's infinite ways to go deeper, but I thank you for the opportunity to go a little bit deeper each time we discuss. So we'll end there. Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Hare Krishna.
A big thank you to Prana Hari Prabhu for a nice class. Please give him a big round of applause. I think we can do better. And also, if I may ask you to move forward, there's a lot of space here, and we'll be bringing prasadam. There's no space there to bring the prasadam. Trolleys there. So you can move forward if you can, please. Thank you so much. So, any newcomers today to the temple? Any first-timers? No? Welcome. Are you visiting, or you moved to Phoenix? Moved recently? Welcome. So your very first time. You moved here for job? Is there something good? Welcome. Please come and see us for a small gift for your first visit here. And we can let you know about our ongoing programs and things. Okay. What's your name? Sulekna. Welcome. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. So we'd also like to thank today's sponsors for our feast. So first sponsor we have Rohit Gandhi and Amrita Pradhan. Is the family here? They're not here. Okay. And they were celebrating, they're sponsoring for, in anticipation of Shri Krishna Janmashtami for the feast today. So a big thank you to them. I'm sure they'll be here. We'll catch up with them later. Oh, they are here? Oh, please come and receive Mahaprasad. There you are. Hiding, you're shy. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh, Mataji's here too. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Would you? Hare Krishna, thank you so much. So anyone can sponsor the Sunday feast. You know, it can be in appreciation or for anniversaries, birthdays, marriage anniversaries, graduation, new job, any reason that you can find, or just simply annadan to feed brahmanas or guests at the temple. Then next we have Vishal Trivedi and family. I know they're not here, they're going to stop by tomorrow for their Mahaprasad, but I'd like to give them a big round of applause. Their reason was gratitude to Radha Madhav Hari's blessings to their family. So that was Vishal Trivedi and family. And lastly, we have Shilpa Oza and Mataji here. They are sponsoring today's feast in memory of Kirit Bhai Oza. He passed away about a month ago. And Prabhu was he has been coming to the temple for many, many years. And he was also one of the first people who, I think, donated to the temple as well when the temple first opened. So we will remember him fondly. Prabhu had been suffering a little bit, so he's in a better place now. I'd like the family to come and receive Mahaprasad, please. Please give them a big round of applause. Kirit Bhai's daughter was studying in Tucson lately, so he used to stop by here every time he went to Tucson with Mataji. It's Shamini. I have the name correct here, but I invented Shilpa, so I apologize. It's Shamini Oza, daughter of Kirit Bhai Oza. So as we already mentioned earlier, we're going to be celebrating Shri Krishna Janmashtami festival on Saturday, 16th of August, and the next day is Srila Prabhupada Appearance Day. So please remember to join us both days. On Saturday, the program is from 6 to 1 o'clock in the morning, and the temple will be open at 4:30 in the morning for Mangla Arti and Darshan. I know many devotees like to attend the Mangla Darshan on Shri Krishna Janmashtami Day. So you're all welcome to do that. There'll be a new outfit that the deities will be wearing at Mangla Arti, and it's a very special darshan, as you all probably remember from the past, Shri Krishna Janmashtami Mangla Arti darshan. So please join us early, and then the main program starts at 6 o'clock when the Vrindavan village opens on the south side, and there are many activities there. There are dioramas of Lord Krishna's appearance, and then we have Japa tent, we'll have the Julan, we'll have Tulsi Maharani set up there also, and we have the book tables there and maybe some other items as well. So that will be your entry, and then you will come to the hall, to the temple, where there will be Abhishekam, Kirtan, Arati, and bhajans on that day. Then you go on to the north side, where there's another tent, and there'll be a cultural program going on there from 7:15 onwards. And there'll be prasadam served also from 7:30. And then midnight there will be Arati, and after Arati there's Mahaprasadam at 12:30. So we normally wrap up around 1:30 on Shri Krishna Janmashtami Day. The following day is Nandutsav, and also appearance of Srila Prabhupada, and the program is from 10:30 till 1:30. So please join us. That also is a very nice, very sweet festival where we do Abhishekam, perform Abhishekam for Srila Prabhupada, and then we make offerings to Srila Prabhupada. You know, anybody can speak at that time. Then we have Arati and Prasadam. So that is the following day on the 17th, which is a Sunday. So there will be no Sunday feast program on that Sunday. The temple will be open at 5 o'clock with Arati, but there won't be a Sunday feast program on the 17th because we'll have switched the program to the morning to celebrate Srila Prabhupada's appearance day. So please join us for that. And then soon afterwards, in 2 weeks' time, on 31st of August, we're going to be celebrating Shri Radhashmi, and that's the appearance of Srimati Radharani. And over the years, we are forming this very nice tradition of offering Pushpa Abhishekam to the deities, and then you all can play holy with the flowers, the petals that are offered to the deities. I know that you all have had a lot of fun, so please don't miss it this year either. And there are going to be 4 outfits offered this Radhashmi. That's going to be the first time ever that we're going to do that, starting with Manglarti. And then there's going to be a flower outfit, then a day outfit, and another night outfit. So there's going to be a lot of opulence for Srimati Radharani, as it should be, on the 31st of August, and it's a Sunday. And it's an evening program, so make sure you join us to celebrate Srimati Radharani's appearance day. We don't have any save opportunities posted yet because of our Balram Jayanti festival and Shri Krishna Janmashtami festival. Sorry about that. And I'd also take this opportunity to thank our youth for putting up such a grand festival for Shri Krishna, for Balram Jayanti on Friday. Please give them a big round of applause. It was the first time that our youth put together an event from beginning to finish. They were cleaning up here at 10 o'clock at night also. So it was not just creating the flyer and the schedule and the class and the kirtan and the decorations. They did everything. They were, like I said, cleaning the floor at 10 o'clock in the evening, despite them having some other, things to do the following morning. So my hat's off to the youth for a wonderful program, very nice class, very good kirtan, and the menu also was selected by them, and I understand that everybody enjoyed the prasadam on Friday as well. So thank you, youth, and they've asked for more opportunities for other festivals, so be on the lookout and see our youth really go the extra mile and put on some really wonderful programs in the future. Thank you so much. And we'll also be continuing with our series of classes on the process of devotional service by Raghava Pandit Prabhu, and that's on Saturday afternoons via Zoom from 2 to 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And I mentioned earlier our morning sadhana program that Prabhu participates in. That starts at 5 o'clock in the morning. We do a little bit of reading about chanting from 5 to 10, and then from 5 to 5:10, and then from 5:10 to 5:40 we do some group chanting, and then from 5:40 to 6 o'clock we read Srimad Bhagavatam. We put a lot of emphasis on Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is also read at the temple in person. You can come and listen to it in person or via Facebook page or YouTube. And that's every day, 7 days a week, 7:35 to 8:05 in the morning. Our Vaishnavis currently are reading in the afternoon, Chaitanya Charitamrita via Zoom from 4:30 to 5:15. And our youth are reading Srimad Bhagavatam every Sunday via Zoom from 2 to 3. And we also read Prabhupada's books in the evenings, Monday through Thursday, from 7:05 to 7:30. And currently we are reading Nectar of Devotion. And our adults also are reading from Monday to Thursday, Chaitanya Charitamrita from 8:30 to 8:50 in the evening. So basically we start our day with Srimad Bhagavatam and end our day with Chaitanya Charitamrita reading. And it's really a very nice sadhana program that we have over at this temple. And we also are going to start reading for children and that's going to start in September. Just be on the lookout for the dates when we start that program. So we'll also be doing reading for children as well. Our yoga classes will resume in September, and our Vedic school, Sunday Vedic school, and our Hindi classes also will begin after Janmashtami. So Hindi classes will start on August 23rd, so Saturdays and Sundays, and the Vedic school is only one day, that's on Sundays, so it will start from 24th of August. And we have puja and catering services available at the temple or can be performed at your home, and we can do catering up to 1,500 people. And as we mentioned earlier, we are looking for volunteers for Shri Krishna Janmashtami. Friday evening is going to be a very, very busy afternoon here. We'll be mostly doing the puri seva and chopping vegetables and fruits and packing any prasadam that needs to be distributed the next day also. And there'll be miscellaneous other sevas as well. So if you're free, please join us. The tents will go up on Thursday on the north and the south side, and we'll be decorating and doing a lot of setups of tables and chairs. So if you're available, do join us if you can. And there's a sign-up sheet over at the counter where Damodar Prabhu is standing. We'll go ahead and recite prasadam prayers, and then... Yes. So we sent out a short message in our WhatsApp groups. Every year, I think most of you have been to our Shri Krishna Janmashtami festival, and there's super long lines. So if you want to avoid waiting in the long lines, if you'd like to sponsor and make the payments today or before Shri Krishna Janmashtami festival, you can pick up the fast track passes at the Vrindavan village without waiting in line, and you'll be allowed to come in and so if you want to sponsor the Abhishek or anything else towards Abhishek, then you'll be given passes at the Vrindavan village information without standing in line, and you can come straight into the temple. And I know that a lot of you, do wait in line and make payments on the last day or on the day of Janmashtami, and that creates, a lot of long lines there. So if you'd like to do that today, then just pick up your pass and just come inside the temple without waiting outside. I strongly recommend that. You all have waited in those long lines. So Vamshi Prabhu came up with the idea, and we'd like to implement that and see how that goes. So try and take up, pitch in for your sevas today and make life easier for you on next Saturday. He did have that here. And you can pay via Zelle or credit card, checks, however you want, Venmo, and there's Apple Pay there also, or you can go online and pay via PayPal as well. I'm going to stop here. Is there anything else? So we have Satya Rupani Devidas's birthday today, and she has brought some sweets. Please give her a big round of applause and a happy birthday to Mataji. Mataji, please come and receive Mahaprasad. There you are. So we'll recite the Prasadam prayers. While we are doing that, we'll form one line, children and adults, elderly people first, and then the rest of us will join the line, and same with the Prasadam line. The Prasadam line is going to be today in the temple room because we are setting up for Shri Krishna Janmashtami festival on the other side. So we apologize for any inconvenience to you all. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Mataji's son, Akul Pandey's birthday.
There's also Akul Pandey's birthday. A very happy birthday to Akul Pandey. Please give her a big round of applause. Hare Krishna.
Mahaprasade Govinde Namo Brahmani Vaishnave Swapa punyavatam rajam Vishwasanaiva jayate Sharira vidyajam Jodandriya tahikau Jive pile Vishaya sagare Taramadhya jivati Lobhamo sudumati Take jeta Kathina samsare Krishna bhadoya moy Kore bar jiva jai Swaprasad Anandila bai Sayanamrita pao Radha Krishna Gunagao Premedako Shri Chaitanya Nitai.
That's why I got stuck. And I think about a culture program. I will show you here. The Facebook.
I know it's not in the flyer, but it's there.
Where is Napriya?
She's not coming to. She's not coming to.
The flyer, there is no kirtan, there is no culture program. You're not coming. Just now I looked into Facebook flyer.
Just like we say, like mantra, you know, is that what we want? Manas and Trayate. I mean, it comes from Acharya, but that's not etymologically how it works. It's like the dhatu plus some sort of dhatu suffix. So I think yad is a similar thing. It's like I can't find I have a kridanta. Etymologically, it's not that, but I like that. Yeah, it's really interesting.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna.
With, like I said, the disposition. Like my disposition is such. So there's some karma mishra in some sense. If I'm prioritizing that consideration. Like, you know, I want to give classes, I want to read. Not because I'm like, that's my disposition. Like, I have more to read than others. And that's what I want to do, that's what I like to do. So, in that sense, is it bhakti? Yeah, it's actually sort of bhakti, but it's only and I think it's Gyan Mishra.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
There isn't that differentiation like in there's like seeing the world from that touch and being preoccupied with it. So I think the way Krishna is referring to the concept of is more broad. I think it's more broad because then it's like, well, what concept?
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
I'm gonna get a name or
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
whatever I'm doing.
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, oh, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare
की निताई की जय जय श्री राधे
Very nice. No, I should be here for some time. As long as my dad doesn't leave it. Sorry.
Why did you busy?
I'll just call my dad. 30 minutes from now. Oh, you don't need it? I'll be done in like 10 minutes, but let me just tell my dad that this is there.
लाल पानी है क्या? लाल पानी है? लाल पानी है। क्या लाल है? एनर्जी ड्रिंक है। एनर्जी ड्रिंक है। ये एनर्जी ड्रिंक है ना? कितने लोग दिखाई दे? थोड़ा तड़का लगा आलू वाली आलू डाला
म्यूचुअल